Sometimes we think we need to fix everything, solve every problem, hold every relationship together, carry everyone's pain on our own shoulders. But you weren't meant to hold it all. There are weights that don't belong to you, stories that are not yours to rewrite, and burdens that were never meant to shape your identity. You are allowed to let go. Let go of what drains you, let go of what confuses your peace, let go of what makes you feel small, unseen, or unworthy. Letting go doesn't mean you failed, it means you're finally listening to your own voice, the one that whispers you deserve to breathe, you deserve to heal. This is the beginning not of doing more but of being less entangled and more at home in yourself. Start here, not with effort but with softness. Not with pressure but with a deep permission to release what was never meant to stay. You've been strong for so long, strong in ways no one ever saw, holding back tears, smiling when it hurt, showing up when you were barely standing. But strength isn't just endurance, it's also knowing when to stop, when to rest, when to admit that you're tired. You are not a machine, you don't have to prove your worth through exhaustion. Real strength is quiet, it's the kind that lets you sit down without guilt, that says, I've done enough for today and that's okay. You don't need to earn the right to pause, you already have it, because your breath is proof that you are worthy, even when you're still, even when you do nothing at all. Rest is not a reward, it's a birthright. And the world will not fall apart if you take a moment to come back to yourself, to remember you were never meant to carry it all. There are parts of you that still ache, not because you're broken but because you're healing. Healing isn't always pretty, sometimes it's messy, silent, lonely. Sometimes you outgrow things that once felt like home, sometimes you walk away from people you still care about, not out of anger but out of self-respect. You can love someone deeply and still choose peace. You can forgive and still create distance, you can move on without needing to explain every step you take. Healing is not about forgetting what hurt you, it's about remembering who you were before the pain took over. And slowly, breath by breath, becoming that person again. But wiser, softer, more honest with yourself and more gentle with the world around you. You don't need to have it all figured out, not today, not tomorrow. The pressure to know everything, to always have a plan, to be certain about every next step can become a quiet weight on your chest. But life doesn't unfold in perfect lines, it moves in spirals and pauses in unexpected turns. You're allowed to not know, you're allowed to feel unsure, you're allowed to take one small step even when the full path is still hidden. Peace isn't found in control, it's found in surrender. In the soft moment when you say, I don't know what's next but I trust that I'll handle it when it comes. You don't need all the answers, you just need enough courage to keep listening, to keep breathing, to keep moving gently forward, one day, one moment, one heartbeat at a time. Not everything deserves a response, not every invitation to argue needs to be accepted, not every opinion needs to be corrected. You are allowed to protect your peace even if that means saying nothing. You don't need to attend every conflict you're invited to, you don't need to explain your choices to people who refuse to understand you, you don't need to waste your energy proving who you are. Sometimes, silence is strength, sometimes, walking away is wisdom. Your peace is sacred, and every time you choose calm over chaos, you choose yourself. This doesn't make you cold, it makes you clear about what drains you and what feeds your spirit. Protecting your peace isn't selfish, it's necessary, because when your world is calm inside, you show up differently, you listen deeper, you love softer, and you begin to feel whole again. You've changed in ways you might not even notice yet. You're not as reactive as you used to be, not as eager to chase what doesn't feel right, not as quick to ignore your own needs just to keep others comfortable. That's growth, quiet, uncelebrated but powerful. There's no applause for becoming more self-aware, no trophy for walking away from old patterns, but you've done it anyway, bit by bit, day by day. You are no longer who you were, and that's a beautiful thing. You've learned to pause, to listen, to stay when it feels right and leave when it doesn't. You've learned that peace isn't found in people, it's built within yourself, through boundaries, through presence, through choosing what truly matters even when it's hard. So if no one has told you lately, let me say it now, you're doing better than you think. There is a version of you that exists beneath the noise. Beneath the fear, beneath the overthinking, beneath all the roles you've had to play. That version of you is still there, still breathing, still waiting. Not the one trying to be perfect, not the one constantly trying to keep it together, but the one who is simply real, soft, open, alive. You don't need to become someone new, you just need to come back. Come back to your center, to your breath, to your truth. The world told you to be louder, to be tougher, to be more productive, to be more of everything. But what if you were already enough before the world ever tried to shape you? What if peace isn't something to chase but something to return to? You don't need to fix yourself, you just need to meet yourself as you are, with less judgment and more grace. That's the beginning of everything. You don't have to move fast to be moving forward. In a world that praises urgency, it takes quiet courage to slow down. To sip your coffee without distraction, to walk without rushing, to sit without scrolling. Stillness is not laziness, it's presence. It's the sacred act of saying this moment matters, even if it's small, even if it's quiet. You don't need to fill every second, you don't need to chase every opportunity, you don't need to be constantly improving to be worthy of rest. Some seasons are not for growth but for grounding. Some days are not for reaching but for returning to yourself, to what soothes your nervous system, to what brings you peace without noise. Slow living is not about doing less, it's about doing what matters with more intention and more love. And that is enough. You've survived things you thought would break you, moments when you didn't know how you'd keep going, days when the weight was too much and yet you kept breathing. Maybe no one saw the strength it took, maybe no one clapped for your quiet victories, but they mattered, they still do. Because healing doesn't always look like transformation, sometimes it just looks like staying, like getting up again, like making tea when your heart is tired, like answering one message when you wanted to disappear. You've done more than you give yourself credit for, you've grown, you've softened, you've kept choosing life even in silence, even in stillness. That is strength, that is courage, that is healing in motion. You don't need big moments to prove your progress, sometimes the softest steps take you the furthest. So honor where you are, even if no one else does, you are further along than you think. There is no final version of you, no finish line you must reach, no perfect version you need to become. You are a work in progress and also a masterpiece as you are. You're allowed to be soft, to be unsure, to not have it all figured out, and still be worthy of love, of rest, of peace. You've done your best even on the days when it didn't feel like enough. You showed up, you stayed, you kept choosing life in your own quiet way. And that matters more than you know. You don't need to chase more, you don't need to push harder, you don't need to become someone else. You just need to keep coming home to your breath, to your body, to your truth. This world moves fast, but you are allowed to move gently. You are allowed to live softly, speak slowly, and love deeply. Let that be your strength, let that be your legacy. And when life feels heavy again, just remember you've made it through before, you'll find your way back again. Always.